So the first trailer for Spider-Man Brand New Day is finally here, and it took longer than I think a lot of us thought it would, considering the movie's coming out in July. But regardless, now that it's here, I can say that it's a really good trailer. And it has me wondering, could this be the best Spider-Man movie Marvel has ever produced? At the beginning of the trailer, Peter is on his phone and he sees that MJ and Ned are excited to start at MIT. And Peter has this sense of longing and sadness. These people who he cares so much about don't even know who he is anymore and they've moved on. We then get a great shot of Spider-Man diving into the air, and we also get a shot of Peter's eye under the mask. And considering he no longer has the expressive spider eyes, this is a good replacement for that. We get a narration from Peter while he reads the note he was going to give MJ at the end of No Way Home. And it's nice because it feels like it's been quite a while since Peter Parker has narrated in a live action movie. Ned and MJ are in quite a bit of this trailer, and I wasn't really expecting that. It seems like they're going to have sizable roles in this movie. It looks like they're part of the main cast. They're also going to be reintroduced to Peter, as we can see that they all attend the same party, and MJ seems to be in a new relationship. It'll be interesting to see how Peter handles seeing someone who he still loves with someone else, all while she doesn't remember who he is. It's classic down on his luck Peter Parker. This is what we wanted. We wanted him to suffer. Peter mentions how sometimes Spider-Man has to do the hard thing even if it breaks Peter Parker's heart. And that's a big part of being Spider-Man, sacrificing your personal life because of your duties as a hero. I get that some people may not be happy about the fact that MJ and Ned are going to have big roles in the movie. Them having small roles or them not even being in the movie would emphasize what Peter lost at the end of No Way Home. But Peter becoming reacquainted with MJ and Ned while trying to avoid telling them about how they used to know each other seems like it could create some interesting internal struggle for Peter. So let's see what happens. But we also see how the city has really grown to love and appreciate Spider-Man. He gets the key to the city, but we also see that the down-to-earth, more relatable elements of Spider-Man persist. We see him doing laundry with his suit in the wash. We also see Frank Castle himself, the Punisher, show up chasing a tank. And Peter puts a stop to this because he knows he can handle it, and he doesn't want Frank to be put in harm's way for no reason. Spider-Man slingshotting himself right into Frank's van, shattering the windshield, is just such a cool moment. It's probably my favorite action shot of the entire trailer. But the way these two are talking to each other tells me that they've had a few run-ins already. And I like it when they establish that certain heroes have had off-screen run-ins. It just makes the world feel larger. Anyway, Jon Bernthal is the perfect Punisher, so I'm glad he's in this movie. But the key takeaway from this trailer is that Peter's DNA is mutating. We see him faint and he wakes up in a bunch of webs upside down. We also see that he now has organic webbing. And this is a point of contention for a lot of people. Now, me personally, I'm okay with the organic webbing. And that's because even though Peter developing his mechanical webbing is a big part of the Spider-Man mythos, we've seen this version of the character do that already. We know he's capable and he has the intellect. Now, Tobey's Spider-Man never developing his own mechanical webbing makes more sense to critique, even though I don't really care about that because that's the Spider-Man I grew up with. When I was little, that's all I knew, so I don't really care. But I think this kind of represents how the Spider-Man lifestyle is taking over who Peter is. It plays into the whole Peter Parker is no more thing from the end of No Way Home. But this is also something we've never seen in a live-action Spider-Man movie before, so I think it's interesting. But we can see that whatever this mutation is, it's making him stronger. When he's fighting the Hand, he completely obliterates one of their swords. Peter's DNA mutating is also what involves Bruce Banner into the plot, who looks to be working at a university. I know a lot of people have been disappointed with how the Hulk has been handled in the MCU. For some people, that began all the way back with Age of Ultron or Ragnarok, but for a lot of people, that was the Professor Hulk fiasco. I personally didn't hate the Professor Hulk storyline. Seeing his character evolve in that way was entertaining to some extent, but I do think he's run his course, and Savage Hulk is just better. He's just more entertaining, he's more fun, so hopefully he's in this movie. We also get a look at some of the villains who are going to be in this movie. We're finally getting the return of Michael Mando as Mac Gargan, and he's finally becoming Scorpion. And this has been in the making for a long time. Michael Mando is just such a great actor, and he's really good at bringing an intensity to his roles. If you haven't seen Better Call Saul, he is so good as Nacho. You have to watch that show. We also get a montage of Spider-Man fighting various villains, like Tarantula and Boomerang. And it doesn't seem like these characters are going to have big roles in the movie. And I don't think that's a problem whatsoever. Some villains don't need a lot of screen time. Seeing Spider-Man briefly take on a bunch of foes is cool. But I do hope Scorpion gets more screen time though. We've waited quite a while to have this character return. I don't need him to be the main villain or anything, but give him a secondary villain role. But the montage also features a bunch of recreations of classic comic book covers. And the one that stood out to me, and the most iconic one, is the one for Amazing Fantasy 15. Going back a few years ago and reading Amazing Fantasy 15, along with the original Spider-Man run by Stan Lee and Steve Ditko, has just given me a deeper appreciation for the character, so seeing a reference like this is really nice. In terms of the main villain of the movie, we still don't know who it is. We know that Tombstone is in the movie, but I don't think he's the main villain. But we do get a glimpse of Tramell Tillman's character, and he talks about how they're facing a danger they can't control or see. And whatever the threat is, it seems to be taking over people's minds to carry out various tasks. For example, it mind controls this woman and makes her blaze through New York in a tank. So if you have any guesses as to who this villain could be, let me know in the comments. But there's also this mysterious voice that explains metamorphosis, and this voice belongs to Keith David.
Now there's a man who knows his meatballs.
He's just a great actor with such a great voice, so I'm glad he's a part of this movie. This voiceover about rebirth and metamorphosis not only applies to the physical changes Peter Parker is going through, but also the internal ones. Over the last few years, Peter's life has changed a lot. He lost his aunt, the people he loves no longer know who he is, and overall, he's just matured quite a bit. Now, initially, I didn't think Sadie Sink's character was in this trailer, but I was wrong. This character is seemingly wearing the same yellow hoodie and green jacket Sadie Sink was wearing on the set of the movie. Now, this still doesn't answer who she's playing in the movie, but the green and yellow outfit and her red hair does make me lean towards the idea that she's Jean Grey. That coupled with the rumors that we've heard. But we'll have to wait and see. Jean Grey being in this movie would beg the question, where has she been? Where are all the other X-Men? That's an entirely separate can of worms. But we do see Rogue? That's not Rogue. It looks like Rogue, but I don't think that's Rogue. Also, I've never talked about the suit, but this is just a fantastic suit. This is one of the best suits we've seen in a live-action Spider-Man movie. It takes what works about the previous MCU suits and it makes them better. It doesn't have any of those extra MCU lines. And because of that, it looks ripped right out of a comic book. And because Spider-Man is more independent now, and he's more so his own hero, it makes sense that that's reflected in his logo. It's a more quintessential Spider-Man logo, instead of the more tech-based logo he used to have. Also, the shades of blue and red that this suit has are just fantastic. They're a lot more vibrant than before. In this trailer, we also get this triumphant rendition of the Spider-Man theme. And if you're a Spider-Man fan, I don't see how this couldn't get you at least a little more excited for this movie. So overall, I think this movie looks really good. It has a lot going for it. And because of everything I've said, I do think there's potential for this to be the best MCU Spider-Man movie yet. This movie looks to have a bit more of a mature feel to it, with the emotions Peter is dealing with, and how he's a more down on his luck, independent Spider-Man. Obviously, he's still going to be teaming up with certain characters. Obviously, we see him teaming up with Punisher. But he doesn't have the backing of Stark Tech, so he's more independent in that regard. And the bold glimpses of action we get in this trailer also get me excited. So overall, this is a really good trailer, and I'm excited to see what Destin Daniel Cretton is cooking. Tell me what you think about the trailer in the comment section, and make sure to drop a like, subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one.